We're driving a Ford Explorer Timberline. Coming up, we're going to take the most off-road Explorer off-road. But first, information explosion. Let's start things off with interior. What do you think about the interior of the Ford Explorer Timberline?
It seems reasonably stylish. Like, I actually weirdly like this green with orange with gray combo, which I'm surprised because it is a lot, but it looks good together. It looks like how I used to dress in the 90s when I bought all of my stuff from thrift stores.
You wouldn't expect it to go together, but it does?
Exactly.
What about this?
This I'm not really a fan of. It reminds me of like snakeskin?
I don't know, maybe not my style, but it is style. One thing I really like about the interior though, you got these little slots. There's a place right here. You got a big bin right here, down by the USB ports. You got a decent sized, center console area. One area that I'm confused by is this little slot right here. You can put a phone there, but it flops around. It looks like it's a candy bar holder. Do you guys know what that little nook is for? Yes, tell us in the comments. The Explorer is kind of interesting. It's a midsize 3-row SUV, and seating tops out at 7, whereas other options like, let's say the Subaru Ascent, you can get 8 seats in an Ascent. In fact, there are a lot of other midsize 3 rows where you can get 8 seats. And in this one, it's a strict 6-seater, so you've got second row captain's chairs. I fit pretty darn well in the second and even in the third row. Good headroom. My only complaint in the third row is that the floor sits pretty high up, so you get a little bit of that heels near butt vibe. We've got a car seat in the second row there, and one thing we really liked about the Nissan Pathfinder is that it's got a tilt forward function, so you can get into the third row even with a car seat in place. I kind of expected that to be in here. It is not. And one of the reasons I expected it to be in here is because you can get that in the Expedition, which is the full-size Ford 3-row SUV. They've got a tip and slide function, and you don't find that here. Countering that with praise, there's a really wide step for stepping into the third row. Countering that praise with more criticism, it's a fairly narrow pass-through to get into the third row. I would say that if you're getting the Explorer and you have to have a car seat in and you want access to the third row, maybe go with the captain's chairs so you can walk between to the third row. But again, that's kind of like an agile human kind of thing.
And if you've got a big gulp in the center console, you're definitely kicking it over.
Yeah.
Or at least you would if you were me.
Yeah, 46 ounces of Mountain Dew on the floorboards. One more thing I'll mention about the third row, because of the sort of signature forward sweeping C-pillar of the Explorer, a lot of your visual space is taken up with C-pillars. So the less you see out, maybe the less well you will feel when you drive. One more odd observation about the second row, it kind of takes a lot of efforts to move it around, to push it back or to lift it back up. And I'm a ripped dude, I don't have to tell you guys. No, but I mean, like if you were somebody who's slighter of build, that might be a bit of a challenge or an opportunity to get ripped.
Hey girl, you ready to get ripped?
Ripped, see those muscles? Yeah.
I'm really strong because I have this jacket.
Yep, your jackets make you strong. Speaking of car seats, so there are latch points in all of the outboard seats in the second and third rows. So you could put 4 car seats back here. Kiddo, did you have an easy time getting in and out?
Yeah, I did. One thing I noticed is that there's a lot of room between the seats and here.
That's right, there is a lot of room, so you can just like kick your legs, and it's hard to bother mommy when you do it.
Hooray!
Yay! Cargo space behind the third row is good. 18.2 cubic feet of space, which is generous. There's an underfloor storage area, and then these little side panels pop off, so you can really make use of that space, which is great. One thing I noticed though is that when you put the third row down, I did this several times, where you release it, it goes bonk right into the back of the second row with the headrest stopping it. So you kind of got to nudge the headrest down if you want the seat to actually fall down. As for safety, the Explorer is rated 5 stars overall. The only 4-star is rollover, which is pretty common among SUVs, and it has a standard suite of active driver assists, things like lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, and oh, I like this, the backup camera, it's standard with a little washer. So when you live in a mountain environment where a bunch of crap gets on the back of your vehicle, you'll still be able to see behind you. And then one feature that is really neat that Ford offers is called My Key. It lets you program a specific key to have certain limitations. You can program a maximum speed, a maximum volume for the audio system. It will automatically keep all the safety features active on your vehicle. So for parents, that's a real peace of mind when you send your kid out in the world. So what do we think? Is the Ford Explorer family friendly?
Oh, definitely family friendly.
Definitely family friendly, but if you need to get to the 3rd row and you have kids in car seats in the 2nd row, be warned. Are you warned? Good, you're warned.
I'm not warned.
You're warned, you're warned, I warned you. Rear window test. All the way down, yay! Armrest test. Okay, one of the complaints I have here is that the armrests are a little bit far outboard, so I have to kind of use the tips of my fingers to keep my hands on the steering wheel and my arms in a comfy spot. That said, the perch is, even though there is this stitching inboard, it's pretty comfortable. That's a very soft place, so I just need bigger arms is what I'm telling you. I'm gonna give that half an elbow up here, half an elbow up here. Hey, have you guys subscribed to our channel? If you haven't, please do. At 100,000 subs, we're going to review a windowless white van. Style! Let me quickly interject and thank today's sponsor, Flying Eye Sunglasses. I might demonstrate them now, but it's a very cloudy day on the mountain. Sweetie, though, however, is wearing the ophthalmic line of glasses. Basically, they're all-day glasses that you can also add a little front magnetic piece to make them sunglasses.
They're much lighter than my old frames, and they're super flexible, so they wind up being really comfortable no matter what beanie I'm wearing.
Yeah, and they're hard to break no matter what pratfalls you happen to experience.
Seriously.
Ah, my ankle! If you guys would appreciate aviation-grade sunglasses, whether you fly or just appreciate excellent eyewear, click the link in the description below. Lady, any thoughts about the style of the Ford Explorer?
It's fairly small appearing on the outside, and I was trying to determine what was making me think that. I think it's just because the doors have a nice curve to them. There's a lot of lines on the vehicle. I think it's a good looking car.
It looks like it has like some heft to it, some like real muscles, muscles as like Popeye might say. This being the Timberline, it has some details that make it look more rugged, like the orange hooks out front. It's got the skid plate, which is actually a steel skid plate, and then you've got the black wheels and the Bridgestone Dueler tires, which look a little bit beefier. So yeah, this is a little bit more rugged version of the Explorer. What do you guys think of the Explorer? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Tell us in the comments. If you are curious what we're doing between YouTube videos, you can give us a follow over on Instagram. I'm that guy, she's that girl, in motion. Driving the Ford Explorer is like an exploration of the middle. It doesn't really jump out as like exceptional in any space, but it's just generally competent. Ride quality is pretty good. It's got pretty good power. The steering is, reasonably quick and competent enough, though there's not much information coming back through the steering wheel, but it all just kind of does its thing. The one we're driving has the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine and 10-speed automatic transmission combination that is also in our Bronco. And what's interesting is that in this context, the gear changes seem a little less seamless than in our Bronco. And I'm not sure exactly what the logic is behind that, if there's some sort of unique tuning decisions being made. What I will say is that it does something that the Bronco does that I don't like. Let's say you live in a mountain environment, which we do, you're coming up a hill, it's hesitant to give you a downshift. So you start kind of like leaning into the accelerator, you know what I'm talking about?
I do, yeah.
And you're like, it wants to stay at very low RPM. Oftentimes it's below 2,000 RPM. And it's just like, just a little bit more reactivity would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes.
All right, so we know what I think, but what does Evie think? Evie's at the wheel. Tell me, how is visibility in the Explorer for you?
Over this shoulder, it's not bad. I can't see beyond that seat pillar, but that's mostly because of the car seat. Over here, it is terrible. There's this huge pillar, and I just get like a peek peekaboo glimpse back there, so I hope this has blind spot warning.
It does, standard.
Woohoo!
Does it feel of a manageable size?
Maybe because I've gotten more used to driving a large vehicle. I feel like I have a good view of the road ahead. It doesn't feel so enormous. I feel pretty comfortable driving this.
Nice. And then one last little thing we should check out here. Why don't you, when you feel comfortable, just punch it, floor it. Now, go. There you go.
It does take a moment.
Yeah, it takes a little beat for the power to come in. Once it's there, there is enough of it. At the beginning of the video, though, I did tease that we were going to take this thing off-road. Let's go even deeper. Sweeties off-road, I'm going to put you into a more off-road centric mode. Let's say trail mode.
Hey, we're on a trail.
This works out perfectly. Your baseline is a Bronco Sasquatch. Tell me, how do you feel driving this off-road?
Right now, I feel pretty comfortable. As we approach some bigger rocks, I start to wonder what the ground clearance is like on this thing.
The on-screen text will tell us.
This trail is mostly smooth dirt, so this is fun and fine.
Okay, but let's go one level deeper. All right, we're gonna move with a little more speed and a little less caution and maybe a few
and bigger rocks.
bumps. Yeah. One thing that gives me confidence in driving the Explorer Timberline off-road is that it has the underbody protection. But even then, you don't want to just go dragging the bottom of your Explorer over, big old rocks. That's more like a little safety net. One thing that I like about this is it has a limited slip differential, a Torsen limited slip in the rear, so it can help get power to the ground in a way that a vehicle with open differentials can't. One of the challenges is that the front is not as capable. We've been off-roading this thing. There have been a few times where you can just see those front tires spinning. And it looks super cool on camera, but for moving you forward, especially up a hill, you really like to get that power to the ground. Here we go, we've got a pretty good articulation moment right here. It's really, okay, yeah, perfect test, perfect test. There we go. There what you have is a front tire spinning because it's in the air and you have an open differential, and then eventually it starts to hook up. You noted when we were driving before we were filming that it was hard for you to apply power.
Oh yes, I feel like I would slowly apply nothing, and then too much.
Are we on the Black Diamond Trail?
We are, but we're not gonna go all the way to the really, really tricky part because Daddy has to return this car in one piece. On our local trails, we were able to go some pretty good distances out into the wilderness, and then we met our match. We were trying to get up a thing, and then the tires just sort of slipped laterally into a rock. And like the sidewall went thunk, didn't damage, but just like, ooh, that was a dicey moment.
It might have almost popped.
It might have almost popped. That's exactly right, kiddo. The Explorer Timberline is a fine way to go off-road, but you'll want to make yourself aware of its limits before you get in over your head. All right, we survived me driving off-road, and man, we were many levels deep. Let's get out of here. Ah, good. I think there are good times to be had with the Explorer, but for gnarly off-roading, there may be better choices. Wow, that was a good time off-roading. I think you probably are ready to be out of the driver's seat. That was deep. So overall, I think the Ford Explorer is a fine driving SUV. Maybe not my favorite in any one particular category, but just generally competent. Very quickly, let me thank the fine folks who support us on Patreon. You guys get early access to our videos, and we love chatting with you guys there. Thank you for your support. Onward to emotion factor. What do you think? Is there an emotion factor here?
In this particular version of Explorer, I think there is, because it's the Timberline, which means you can go and do awesome stuff with it.
Even if you don't get this one, there are other variants of Explorer that kind of amplify the emotional effect in different areas. They've got the sportier ST, the more luxurious Platinum and King Ranch. Yeah, there is an emotion factor here. If you guys are feeling emotionally moved to buy an Explorer of your very own, click the Kelley Blue Book listing link in the description below. Remarks! let's talk about the infotainment system. We have an 8-inch screen.
The interface is very easy to use.
It's supplemented with like actual knobs. This is very simple, yet very usable. If I have one complaint about the infotainment system, it's that I have 2 complaints. Complaint number 1 is that it's the older Sync system. It's Sync 3. Sync 3 still works fine, but you don't get over-the-air updates, and you don't get quite as snappy a response because the newer systems are much more powerful. And then the other one would be, this car has a 360 camera, but there's not quite enough real estate. It takes up a subsection of the screen, which makes me kind of wish for the larger 10.1-inch screen that is optional. One thing that's on this particular Explorer are auxiliary lights. I saw this little aux button by my left knee, and I was like, is that a button? It's like, no, it's just an indicator. But when you push the aux button down here, that lights up. It's a Ford dealer installed thing. Basically, if you want to look slightly more rugged through the power of lighting, get the aux lights.
Is that something I should try for my personal self as well?
They're called high beams, baby, and they're not appropriate in this video. Howdy, iguana. One pro tip, in the mountains here, oftentimes I'll turn off the lane keeping assist system because you're making constant turns and you're always approaching the lines, but you know where you are, and you keep getting those nudges on the steering wheel. I couldn't find it, and it was driving me crazy. It's on the edge of the turnstile. You have to push that button right there.
I wouldn't have found that.
That's why I'm here. I'm also going to point out that the Securicode keypad system, we have it on our Bronco, and it was really ugly, and I moved it to underneath the fuel filler door. In the Explorer, it's just neatly integrated into the B-pillar. And I'll say, I really like having that keypad system. Have you made good use of it?
Oh yeah, I use it all the time.
We got to talk about engine choices. So we're driving the 2.3-liter EcoBoost. There's also a 3.3-liter naturally aspirated hybrid, and then a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 in 2 different power ratings depending upon which trim you go with. And then for towing, the least capable tow rig is the hybrid, but it'll still tow 5,000 pounds. And then you can tow up to 5,600 pounds if you go with the twin turbocharged V6. And even the 2.3 liter, pretty competent. Also, as you might expect, the most fuel efficient choice is the hybrid. I would have given you more fuel economy figures, but fueleconomy.gov is a rat's nest of fuel economy numbers. I'm sorry you had to waste time as an editor screen capping fueleconomy.gov to show what I'm talking about.
Me too.
4-wheel drive is $2,000, but it comes standard if you get the twin turbo V6. Can I give you a trim recommendation?
Always.
Okay, the way I approach this, what is the cheapest version that will get me the essentials I need? Go with the XLT trim. That's one up from the base trim. It costs $3,000 more than the base trim, but I think it's worth it because it has heated front seats, intelligent key, so you don't have to reach in your pocket to push a button to unlock your vehicle, and second row USB ports, because I just know that as time goes on, my daughter's gonna need more power to not pay attention to me when we're doing these videos.
Aw.
Thank you, sweetie. Can I have a little 5? Let's talk about the competitive sets. There are many SUVs, many of which, by the way, we have reviewed. The Kia Telluride is one that we really like. We recently drove the Nissan Pathfinder. That's a really good one. Honda Pilot would be another one. Toyota Highlander. Subaru Ascent is another one we drove recently. Basically, there is a 3-row midsize SUV for almost any family's needs. You just have to look into it and maybe just watch all of our reviews and we'll tell you everything you need to know. And I'm betting you guys have some thoughts about which one is the best. If you like one midsize SUV more than the other, tell us in the comments. Synopsis! When thinking about the essence of the Ford Explorer, there are many permutations of it, and it's generally pleasing. It might not be the best SUV you ever drive, but it's likely to make you pretty darn happy. To me, it is the Friday night pizza of midsize SUVs. Like, you want some of this? Yeah, sure, that sounds good, yeah, okay. Can you guys think of a better synopsis? If so, be sure to share it. If you're curious what I look like on TikTok, that is a thing you can also do.
And if you want to see if I'm turning into a cat.
And if you want to see our daughter making more work for Sweetie when she edits, be sure to look in the back seat right now. There we go.
No.
Family, I think we did a good job reviewing the Ford Explorer. May I have some 5s? 5, 5, and you can get your high 5.